Hello everyone and welcome back to Black Knight Gaming. We're here today with two firsts for the channel. We have a 5 skull drop here on the Badlands, a destroy base with, honestly, I've seen better payouts, so I'm not expecting super stiff, opposition, not reinforcements, but opposition. And then we were able to purchase a BL6B KNT, that is a Star League era Black Knight. Not quite the BL7 KNT that the channel is named after, but hey. Yeah, it's kissing cousins, right? So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. So we've dropped in, and I have made a bit of a mistake here. If you notice, Medusa in the Marauder has low morale, which means all of those headshot attempts will take more resolve than they should. So let's go ahead and move up, and okay, that's a Victor. That's a 95 tonner. That's a 60. That's an 80. We did take this for 3 salvage, so potentially we can get that 95 ton or whatever it may be. I do like the Victor, but I'm not sure we have a place for it at the moment in our lance. So let's go ahead and move the Cyclops up, the Marauder up to the side. I'd like to be able to get good lines of sight on everything we can with that head-capping Marauder. So that's an awesome, nice. And our new Black Knight, which carries double large laser, double medium laser, and double snub PPC. We'll be testing out that full armament soon enough. So we do want him close enough to use those mediums. Let's just keep him high and tight with the Annihilator and the Cyclops for the moment. So, okay, 60-tonner opening up fire. A couple of stray shots, landing in both of these mechs, stripping evasion pips off of them, which every couple missions, I guess, I end up talking about clustering, but that's my, curse, it seems. So we have two choices. We can move around this way with the Marauder and shoot in at the Awesome, or we can drive right through on this victim, and not victim, soon to be victim, I suppose, but the Victor. And I think right now we will shoot, we'll move back a little bit, and we'll shoot in at the Victor. The reason being, I want the Marauder to shoot at whatever this 95 tonner is. It looks like our best bet for good salvage at the moment. Unfortunately missing, with 80% chance to hit on that Gauss rifle. And now we have the Black Knight, which I think we'll reserve just for the moment. We were unfortunately forced to sacrifice some armor on that mech to fit all of those nice and toasty weapons, along with all of the double heat sinks required to keep that mech running cool. And I guess in order to explain a little bit more of why we have as many Lost Tech things as we do, Banshee 3E, I don't know. Anyway, why we have so many cool toys is I am playing with the setting where mechs do come equipped. So every time we purchase something like that BL6B KNT off the black market, we do get all the nice double heat sinks and other goodies that come with it. So we got a couple of large pulse lasers, which I actually decided not to use. And in terms of headshotting, we might actually go for that Awesome over the Banshee. The Banshee 3E is just not spectacular, to say, well, kindly, I suppose. But actually, let's see where we have the best shot. So we should be within range here. Yeah, I want to see what a full alpha strike with this mech can do. So if we take note, 1200 armor on this Awesome right now, and let's just open fire, see what good damage we can get. So structure exposed, sensors impaired, heat sinks destroyed, and evasion stripped from that mech, able to take almost a third of that armor off in one go, as well as go right into that CT exposing structure. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that, to be honest. I think we will focus in on that Awesome, let the Banshee go toe-to-toe with the Annihilator, and not really have any other good shots for the moment, while we take out its reinforcements over here on the left. So most of that damage, unfortunately, scattering around the CT rather than in it. We do get a PPC crit, so the accuracy on that weapon is down, and the Banshee lands some good shots, so our Annihilator will have an accuracy debuff next turn, and we do actually move first because that mech is moving in Initiative 1 and it moved last. We do have an opportunity to strike here at that 60-tonner if we so choose, so we'll move up. I think we'll avoid it for right now. Well, yeah, okay, so we'll move up and into the trees. That is a dragon. Not really too worried about that. Let's go ahead and do, a precision strike right into the CT. Do I want that? Okay. So the Awesome would still be better salvage than that Banshee, I think. So let's go ahead and shoot in, aiming for the head, and not able to get it, not enough of it anyway to matter. So that awesome is still on his feet. We take some light fire in from that dragon, not really too concerned. Although if the Annihilator takes the full brunt of all three of these mechs, with the Banshee mostly just having a shot on it, that would be a little bit concerning eventually. But let's take a look. Oh, okay, this is even worse. Last episode we had 1 structure remaining on the CT. Now we have 5 on the CT and 1 on that head, which is just absolutely embarrassing. So I think, you know what? Let's see if we can get a little bit tricky here. Let's only fire in with this Gauss, and if it hits the head, it hits the head. If it hits the torso, it hits the torso. And we do manage to have that excellent, sweet, sweet snipe there on that mech. So the Annihilator moving up and around the side and just preparing to pile in on this Banshee. Not the best accuracy with those Ultra AC-10s. We do, of course, have to deal with the penalty we took last turn from that PPC strike. And now we have, well, I guess just the ending portion of this lance. I think we will see reinforcements before the base is entirely destroyed. It's kind of hard to say, difficult to predict. Every time I guess that there will be, there's not, and vice versa. But you know, here there were 3 assault mechs, but this is a 5-skull mission, and I've seen 3 assault mechs on 4s. So maybe we rolled light. I wouldn't really be too surprised, given again the light payout from this mission, but we'll see, I guess. So the dragon previously had entirely healthy right arm and right torso, but we ripped both those off and knocked that mech flat on its back. So that mech now is incredibly vulnerable. We're building a lot of heat on the Black Knight. That is one of the problems with that mech variant. It just builds incredible amounts of heat. And to save a little bit of ammunition, because I don't think we need it, yeah, only 19 left on that CT, we will turn off the Gauss rifle for right now. That dragon is out of the fight, and that leaves us with just this Banshee and the turrets right now on the field. So let's see what we can do. The Annihilator, if it moves up and around to this side, and we actually would have wanted to go the other way, so that right-hand side is pretty damaged, but the left-hand side is not. So let's go ahead and take a precision strike, aim for the CT. I just want this mech dead, and I don't get it. So we could follow up now with the Cyclops, and the reason I'm going here instead of going after those turrets is because if we can take out this Banshee, those turrets might not shoot at us this round. So let's try and aim for that CT. Hopefully this will be enough damage going in there, and that Banshee does fall. So now we just have base up north, a couple turrets around the outsides, and nothing too scary really, so they don't in fact shoot at us, still out of range. And I might make use of that for one more round before we move up into view, just to cool off this Black Knight a little bit. And the Cyclops as well is a little bit toasty for my taste. So we'll move up there, and the Annihilator will actually be able to, 1, get into a decent firing position for next turn, but 2, shake off that refire penalty for those ultra autocannons that it's carrying. So the Marauder now can move up, and let's take a look. Heavy Shredder turret, AC-20, double SRM-6, quad flamer, and that's what we have on both sides. So let's go ahead and shoot in on this far side here for right now. And you know, I had actually meant to turn on that Gauss rifle, which I unfortunately did not. So that turret has far more structure remaining than I had ever really intended. And now we can come in with the double snub, double large, and just really pound into that Shredder turret. More than enough damage to take that thing offline, although if we don't have a shot with Archangel, and it looks like we do. I was about to say, if we don't have a shot with Archangel, this turret may well live throughout that round, but we do have enough range to close there and get a nice shot from our, well, a mech that's really been our sweeper here for quite a while now. So let's just go ahead and move the Cyclops up, staying out of the range of those 2 remaining turrets. And let's just put a little bit of fire here on that military building. Technically there's enough damage coming in to bring it down, but it looks like one of those, I guess, well, not Gauss, but electronic shotgun pellets doesn't quite make it. So strong opposition, don't get flanked. Looks like they have or will drop enemy reinforcements. And we do see them coming up and around this right-hand side with a 100-tonner leading the way. I would, of course, love to salvage whatever that mech is, almost without question. So we will be going in for precision strike with the Marauder, if at all possible, and that sniper turret just barely surviving. the internal damage from those Gauss rifles really makes a double Gauss rifle mech ideal for taking out turrets of any size in one go. 10 damage to the internals will always kill, no matter what the armor on those turrets could be. So 225, 150 if it's a light or an assault turret, it doesn't really matter. So, wow, okay. Decent concentrated fire coming in on that Annihilator's right-hand side from what looks like an energy rifleman. Yep, a rifleman 3N. And the Annihilator is actually starting to show the effect of that damage, so I'm not really too happy about that. Let's go ahead and turn, keep a generous left side facing here, let's say, and that's some good evasion. So, well, we have a couple choices. Let's see what our accuracy would be. I'm not thrilled with that. So let's turn off one of these Ultra Autocannon 10s, and we'll fire in with the remainder on, I think, that right torso, with the idea being hopefully ripping off an arm, which we do manage, just taking out some of the damage capability of that mech when we wouldn't have been able to core it out, right? So if we had had better accuracy, things like that, maybe I would have tried to core that mech out completely, but as it is, we need a distraction. So let's go ahead and sprint the Cyclops up this way, hoping to peel attention away from our Marauder, which suddenly finds itself in a bit of danger, and yeah, following up there, triple medium lasers landing. Oh, head hit, rangefinder destroyed. That was unexpected. No! Oh, goodness. Okay. Our Black Knight has fallen on its first mission. Glitch is dead. One of our best pilots is no more. That Annihilator is going to pay. That's all I have to say about this. That Annihilator cannot be allowed to live. So we will reserve right now, which is a little counterintuitive when I've just said we'll get our revenge. But this drop is proving anything but fruitful for us. I mean, we can't replace that sort of experience easily at all, and man, that is a stiff loss to face before the siege of Coromir, and we've actually almost lost the Annihilator as well, so we need to play it really careful, really safe on this drop to not lose even more. I think the play right now is keep a somewhat still left-facing angle to these mechs and to fire in Precision Strike, because we have to take these mechs out quickly now on that Cyclops 10Q. We don't want to risk scattering damage all around, so I will... man, this mission is defying so many statistical likelihoods right now, with another headshot coming in as we took a Precision Strike on the torso. So another rifleman, looks like the ace pilot, and we kind of have to pick our priorities at the moment. So still staying out of range of that other turret, and not great accuracy on that Annihilator, which, man, I mean, it just put an AC-10 shell right in the dome piece of Glitch's mech, and maybe she'll potentially survive. I don't quite remember how it works. It's honestly been quite a long time since I've lost a pilot like that. I mean, the last one I lost, I think, actually took a punch, which it did kill them, so it's not really looking great there, but wow, that's just mildly upsetting. So we'll fire in here with the Cyclops. Not really expecting anything spectacular because, again, our loadout on the Cyclops is not all that heavy, and the reason I'm waiting with this Marauder is I want the Annihilator to move. Even though that'll give it a chance to shoot, I want it to move, and it doesn't. Man, so the turret moved first, which means the Marauder now has to move, and we don't even have a great shot. Okay, so you know what? Let's make do with what we got. We'll take the Marauder up and Precision Strike on that Rifleman, using a lot of resolve because Medusa is having a bad day and is being, well, kind of whiny. Going over the CT, enough to take out that Rifleman. So there's now a damaged Rifleman and a full health Annihilator staring down this Lance, and let's see what the Rifleman can do. It does shoot into the Annihilator, landing quite a bit of scattered, hopefully, fire anyway on that mech, and that should be alright. Let's see what the Annihilator has to say. Landing all of those 4 AC-10s directly into our Marauder. That's just a metric ton of damage coming in there. Again, because the Annihilator has that damage increase for ballistics, almost ripping off the left torso. entirely. Well, no, it still has armor. That's being a little bit overdramatic, but not incredibly so. So moving up here, that turret still does not have line of sight on us, and we will take this shot. Precision strike, less than ideal for our other mech's accuracy, but I need this mech dead, so we do return the favor, decapitating that Marauder with a Gauss bullet to the brain, and that mech goes down. I'm still kind of grieving, both for the Black Knight, which has utterly failed on its first combat mission, although we will hopefully get it in salvage, and for Glitch. I mean, if she dies, that's just, we'll have to train up Behemoth a little bit more, and that'll take a little bit of time, which is less than ideal, but I had meant to go in with 5 skilled pilots to the Battle of Coromadir, and now I can't even guarantee that I could field 4 right now. I mean, Behemoth is quite a bit far behind our other pilots, and if we have to start doing deployments with, well, with pilots who aren't nearly so skilled, we'll have to basically field 3 effective mechs and 1 far less effective mech, because again, it's 1/3 the mechs that you have, it's 1/3 the equipment on those mechs, and it's 1/3 the pilot as well. I mean, a worse pilot in that Marauder showed in our last episode that it becomes severely less effective at the sort of reliable headshots that we need coming out from it. So we can't afford to have an inexperienced pilot in that Marauder. We can't afford to have really any significant inexperienced pilots for battles where we're already winning or losing on the skin of our teeth. So we will sprint the Marauder up, still no line of sight on that turret, and this is a bit of a risk, but I want this mission over as quickly as possible so we can move on to the next and hopefully see a bit of a brighter future there. So that will be the last turret, and we'll be right back with the mission reward screen. Okay, so Glitch is killed in action. No two ways about it, no med bay for her, nothing like that. We did also lose the rangefinder on the Annihilator and took an injury for Archangel, so he'll be out of commission for a little while. And that's just heartbreaking. I mean, it's statistically bound to happen eventually, but I mean, we salvaged the Black Knight somehow, although we'll need repairs. Yeah, first pilot on the memorial wall for this campaign. So, our salvage, we get 3 choices. It's tempting to take another Annihilator. I mean, I'm not really feeling generous right now for the opponents, and stacking that thing a mile high with ultra autocannons would just make my heart soar. And also, we do have quite a few of them. Well, I say we, but I just kind of have a penchant for buying them whenever I see them off that black market. It's how we've maintained, well, such a crappy bank account all this last time. So we will take that second Annihilator, and oh man, both of those Annihilators with ultra autocannons roaring will deliver swift vengeance as quickly as we can get it usable. Alright, so we're back, and we've had to move on to slightly easier pastures here, coming in at a 3-skull mission on the Tundra against the Taurians, and leading our, well, punitive army, let's say, will be Behemoth, who will probably replace Glitch the quickest in our high-skill deployments, but Behemoth will be leading a couple greener pilots who really only got experience from our Argo upgrades over the past couple in-game weeks, and we have a full Black Knight Lance coming in for our punitive force. So we have the Black Knight 6B, and then the rest are just stock BL6 KNTs, and we'll hope they're up to the task ahead. But this is how we get retribution on this channel. So buckle in and prepare yourselves for hopefully quite a good drop. All right, so we've touched down with our punitive Black Knight force. Mech's apparently handling the cold just fine, but I'm very sad. So we'll move up. It looks like, where's our 6B? So our 6B is leading the way, which has me a little bit nervous after how it performed, or didn't, rather, in the last mission. And 4 mechs, a Thunderbolt coming in, scattered laser fire, mostly missing, and if you guys can hear the sorrow in my voice, it's truly because in all the campaigns of this that I've played, I usually play cautiously enough that I can avoid pilot deaths. I mean, it usually happens with less experienced pilots when I'm putting them in, frankly, with things that they can't quite yet handle efficiently. Missions like this one, actually. But 90% across the board here, and just because I'm feeling a little bit extra salty, let's just kill a Thunderbolt if we can. Start this mission off right. Lots of damage going right into that core, and that mech is down. So that Black Knight feels 6B KNT just throwing its weight around here as we get started, and the others can't really get good shots, but let's go ahead and move up so we have good evasion, so that we have good damage mitigation. That was something moving on Initiative 1. So let's see. I can't quite see their tonnage yet, but that makes me think that there's at least one assault, maybe that I can't even see, so it's possible that there are enemy reinforcements, which really just would be in keeping with the luck or lack thereof that we've had during this episode here. And twin PPCs coming in and I think missing, but some medium lasers finding their mark, which is a little bit less than fortunate. That's a Warhammer 6D, which I don't think we've actually salvaged any of those so far, and just to get this out of the way, we won't this time either. These mechs are dying. They're all dying in a horrible, horrible fire. And we took this actually just for the money. So both those PPCs pounding into our Black Knight, well, that's really not descriptive here, pounding into Behemoth, popping up the heat on that mech, but not disastrously so. And wow, another head hit. Quite a pounding on the left arm of that Black Knight, and it looks like an enemy Black Knight. So there's altogether too many Black Knights on the field at the moment. Looks like multi-shot really being made use of for that evasion stripping ability. Let's see, let's take a look. So it's been a while since I've looked at the stock armament of the BL6 KNT. So not really all that strong, which is kind of to be expected for a heavy without any lost tech piled into it. And okay, so double PPC, double large, double PPC, double medium, double small, and this mech has far less armor. So we will shoot in the rifleman first. It should be the easier kill with comparable, if not slightly higher armaments actually than the Warhammer there. Mostly just a durable mech, that one. And it looks like there is, yep, enemy reinforcements. So when it rains and you try to kind of meme a little bit to make yourself feel better, it really does pour. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is an assault mech. I would be surprised if there are several assault mechs. This is a 3-skull drop. There really shouldn't be. And that rifleman somehow surviving, even though we've nuked our own Black Knight's heat here, which will show up in just a second, and pushing right up toward that red line, even on the polar biome. And Black Knight in the back. Okay, so there's 2 assault mechs? That was a lot of LRM fire. And I'm a little bit concerned for Kevlar here in this rear Black Knight. So, tell you what we're going to do, we're going to move him back, staying in the damage mitigation from the forest because, frankly, he needs it. We're going to pop a Vigilance so that this Black Knight moves again a little bit quicker next turn. And let's fire in, but because we don't have great accuracy, let's turn off enough medium lasers where we're not really going toasty, just firing with the PPC double larges, able to pound in a little bit to what looked like the CT on the enemy Black Knight. And most importantly, let's try to keep this mech out of harm's way as much as possible, because really truly, if there are 3 or 4 assault mechs, I'm just going to have to cry here as this mission continues. Wow, that's just terrible. So Gorgon moving up, hopefully distracting from our damaged Kevlar here in the back. And I think it's time to open fire once again on this Black Knight. Now we do have good accuracy because that evasion pip was stripped. Scattering damage, unfortunately, but we crit the large laser and we have structure exposed. We should be able to navigate our way through this mission without too much trouble. So we'll take... So the Warhammer is moving now, but that's it. So I wonder what we could do is we could take Kevlar here and, yep, stay in the woods, move even farther back, fire in once again, now finally heating this mech up with that full medium laser armament. on the enemy BL6 KNT, and it's tempting to precision strike, aim for that CT, but I don't think we'd make it all the way through, even if we tried. We don't really have great cold shot mastery or anything like that on these rookie pilots, which we might actually pay for if we're not careful. So damage piling into the BL6B KNT, which is less than ideal. This is by far our strongest mech on deployment at the moment, and because we still have until Initiative 1 before that rifleman pops itself back up, we could go in. Ooh, that would be devastating. So, oh, that's so tempting. Let's see. What happens if we move to 6B? So, we could get a shot. Actually, a pretty good shot, and I think we will take it. So, precision strike here on that enemy Black Knight will slow it down, and we could potentially core this mech out entirely. Large lasers drilling into that CT, and that mech does go down. So 2 down, 1 crippled. The Warhammer here largely fine, but we're about to change that. So let's move up behind with Gorgon here in her Black Knight. And this is roasty and toasty and won't make him a ghosty. So let's turn off the PPC. Let's turn off one of those, well, so we can either turn off 2 mediums for 50, or we can turn off a large and lose 40. We are running a bit hotter if we do this, but that's fine. Let's make a precision strike on this Warhammer and hopefully just pile right in to that back armor. Not enough, so very much not enough to take that mech out, which is very unfortunate. And oh man, this just is quite upsetting. So the BL6 KNT over here, there's no point shooting into the front of that Warhammer if we're really trying to core it out through that rear armor, so let's go ahead and fire in at the rifleman. We will have to turn off a couple other weapons here, and maybe even one more. There's not that much left on that CT. 1 good hit from a large laser should do it, but I want the twin mediums firing just in case they scatter to the leg, as one of them actually did. So that rifleman is cored out completely. That's 3 opposing mechs down. And I'm still not really feeling safe, because now we have even more LRM fire coming in to Kevlar's Black Knight, structure exposed, very close to losing entire pieces off of that mech. A sensor lock coming in as well, which hopefully means that he just doesn't have any indirect fire, and right as I say that, looks like an LRM-5 being fired in to Gorgon's Black Knight, which is less punishing than it could have been. So we'll move up. We'll get, well, I don't want to move there, because if we move up this way, we might actually have, no, that looks like a rear angle, not a side angle, so kind of hard to tell, but we'll take our chances. Okay, so vehicles. That's somewhat better, I think. Actually, it might be worse. Well, let's just see if we can cut off their vision, because if they can't see us, they can't shoot us. And that should give us a couple turns to cool off a little bit before we go back into combat. So opening up with everything that we can on the back of this Warhammer, just trying to drill through, and once again not succeeding. So we've ripped all the way through into the, well, we haven't even managed that much damage on the rear center torso. That's kind of depressing and impressive at the same time. Depressive? I don't know if that's a, well, it's probably a word. But let's go ahead and shoot into the side of this Warhammer, try and drill through on its right-hand side if we can, piling as much damage as we can in with that BL6B KNT, enough to damage the arm, but not take it out. That Warhammer is quite resilient, I must say. Might even consider taking one. Frankly, I think it could probably beat one of our Black Knights in a head-to-head fight. Maybe not the 6B, but certainly one of the 6s. It would be a knockdown, drag-out fight. That armor just holding up so well against our relatively scattered laser armament. So if we're not careful, we could lose things on this Black Knight this time around. So that's exposed right torso. So we'll come up here, we'll left side face, try to keep this mech alive just that little bit longer. If that Warhammer does shoot, we could be in trouble. Well, shoot at this specific mech. So let's fire in with everything we can. Double large, a couple mediums. We do destroy that right arm and right leg, so that Warhammer is dropped but not dead, which means it will have a chance to pop up, potentially either take a swing in melee, which I'm actually kind of worried about, or fire in with part of its armament, and unfortunately we will take more fire from those vehicles this round. It is comforting to know that we aren't going up against a couple different assault mechs, but that Warhammer landing 100 damage all on one location, with that melee hit on the 6B, so That's our most precious mech on this entire drop. It's our most precious pilot on this entire drop, and that's a little bit concerning. So Kevlar, being the object of affection for even more LRM ammo, well, LRM volleys? I don't know. Taking quite a bit of a punch. Another sensor lock on the 6, led by Gorgon, and I'm kind of okay with her taking that damage. She's taking some of the least damage of any of our mechs so far, and probably will lead the push in to take out those vehicles. So the Warhammer is swinging again because of how initiative works in this game. It went at 1, and then it swung back around to 3, and for some reason it went again, even though those vehicles did come in. I think it's because they were separate lances, but still I think it's a little bit idiotic, and that was able to open up structure on that Black Knight's right arm. So we can't afford that. We will have to left face with this mech, and that means we might not even be able to kill this Warhammer in this shot. So firing into the undamaged side, unfortunately, of that Warhammer, but we do incapacitate the pilot through enough pilot injuries. It looks like that left torso blowing up and taking that mech out. So I think what we do right now is we reserve, because they can't see us, which means they'll try to move up so that they can. And this Black Knight is also relatively undamaged, so let's go ahead and sprint him up here, just to try and get one of those two vehicles on high ground to move, which we don't manage, but we can move this other Black Knight as well, and then potentially we could get a shot this turn, which would be what I'm hoping for, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So let's just move for right now instead of sprint, try to cool off just a bit more with that Black Knight. Fortunately, enough coming in there to entirely sink that heat. Some decent damage coming in from that enemy tank, a Manticore. Not the most fearsome, but certainly nothing to scoff at. 157 frontal armor. It's quite a bit. It adds up very quickly. So let's see what we can do with our two regular Black Knights. We're within range of that small laser, and I think we'll keep the PPC off now to save a little bit of heat. So precision strike, because we're at full resolve and there's really no harm in it. And let's go in for that frontal armor. I know it's a bit thicker there, but really not that much so, and I just want to have the highest chance of clustering damage as we can manage. We don't even get halfway through, so not the best result possible, but if we move up the other Black Knight as well, I'd like to be able to step, but we're not quite close enough to make that have a decent chance. So we'll take another precision strike, just once again going for that frontal armor, landing at the large, landing it looks like a couple of the mediums, and that first Manticore is down. So only 3 tanks remaining now, which I guess that's some relief, although I'd been hoping for better. And we will reserve just to hopefully have those tanks not find a target before we have a chance to move again and shoot again. So keeping Kevlar's Black Knight well out of the range of danger here. We do take some LRM fire. I'm kind of surprised. Nothing should be able to see him at the moment. But nevertheless, lots of LRM fire coming into that left side, just absolutely ripping him open. And I'm once again a little bit concerned for the success of this mission. So we'll have to left face to save the BL6B's right armor, and that Shrek PPC carrier. Oh man, snubs. Absolutely ripping open Clam's Black Knight. So if we aren't careful, we could actually lose this mech. We don't have any ammo that would explode, but we don't have that much structure remaining, and this would do not nearly enough. So if you take a look at this Shrek PPC carrier, well, it would actually be pretty decent. Let's see. So if we shoot, you know what? Let's move and shoot. We have the heat to get in most of our armaments, and I'd rather take an aim shot, hoping for one of those sides. That's a decent chance. So that's the right-hand side, that's the left-hand side. We'll shoot on the left-hand side of that PPC carrier, and the PPC carrier does go down. So half of the enemy vehicles dealt with. Most importantly, we can now retreat Clam's Black Knight. Much as I don't want to, it kind of has to be done. So if you look in, that's the left torso, the left leg, so we will retreat and right face, potentially able to get a shot next turn as we round that corner, but I want evasion, I want damage resistance from those trees on there, and I want to have a lower chance of knocking off that side torso or even that leg, costing us money, and potentially risking losing 2 pilots in one mission, which would just be utterly embarrassing here. Although I don't think there's too much we could have done about losing. Oh man, losing Glitch, because that was the first round that the Annihilator had really been in play. So lots of structure opened along our entire lane, so we need to end this now. Vehicles, unlike mechs, don't actually run out of ammunition, which is a little bit shit if you ask me, but nobody ever does. So those LRM carriers have just been able to keep firing with impunity this whole time, lighting us up with LRM 60 time and time again. Fortunately, it hasn't cost us too much yet, but I don't really want to risk that. Ideally, those are the sorts of targets that you want to hit first. High firepower, low armor, those things should die first, but we had no way to deal that indirect damage with an all-energy lance. So that last carrier does go down, and this will be the end to a very long, very sad mission. So, if you guys like this content and feel bad for Glitch, don't hesitate to drop a like, share, or subscribe, and we'll be back real soon.